Hey, what's up, y'all? So, it's time. Damn, I shouldn't have done that. Throat's been giving me problems lately, as usual, so remind me not to do that shit again. It's me, Savini Jason, and it's time to finally talk about Rob Zombie's motherfucking Halloween. Yes, I'm fucking ready for this shit. And this ain't gonna be a formal review, which is any of my fucking videos ever a formal review? I think not, really. I don't think they are. It's just my own way of talking about a fucking movie, so, you know, for all the critics out there, just fucking deal with it. But anyways, for this one, I will be talking about mostly likes, and if any negatives I can find, maybe a little bit, maybe a few here and there. Hold on. I had to turn that music down a little bit. I don't want to be getting a copyright strike from fucking YouTube. So, plus, you may not have been able to hear what the fuck I was saying at the beginning of the video, so you have that. But anyways, I'll go ahead and start off by saying that I don't get the hate that this movie gets in a way. I can see where certain people are coming from when they criticize Rob Zombie's version of Halloween and why they say the things they say about it. You know, why did young Michael talk at the Smithsgrove Sanitarium, and why did Dr. Loomis look like a fucking hippie reject from Up in Smoke at the beginning of it, you know? All kind of shit. They over-criticized Scout Taylor Compton's portrayal of Laurie Strode, and to all of that, I gotta say, kiss my ass, because it was fucking awesome. I can see why they say the shit, but in a way, you gotta think, you know, Rob Zombie did this movie knowing that he was going to do his own interpretation of it. You know, you got to understand that he wanted to keep the essence of Carpenter's Halloween, but he went ahead with his own vision. You know, he has also stated in numerous interviews before that, you know, what would be the point of doing a complete remake of Halloween from '78? Like, really? You know, that's what I've always said, is that if he would have, no, think about this. If instead of what we got in 2007, what if Zombie would have did a shot-for-shot, word-for-word remake of the 1978 John Carpenter classic? It would have been fucking boring. It would have been pointless, because we've already got that. We've already got that masterpiece. You can't redo that. You can't duplicate perfection, you know? I think he did the right thing by doing his own thing with it and making it his own, you know, and kind of paying homage to the '78 classic by having some of the same lines, and some of the shots were filmed the same, and he kept the kills, the classic kills and shit from it, you know, but he did his own vision, his own take on things. Like, for one, you got Malcolm McDowell, who plays Dr. Loomis in it, and he had never once watched the original Halloween, so he didn't have any idea about what Donald Pleasance's portrayal of Loomis was like during filming of this movie. And Zombie even told him, you know, I don't want you to go back and watch it, because I want you to do your own interpretation, your own style, bring your own flavor to the character of Dr. Loomis. And he did, 100%. I thought Malcolm McDowell did a fucking hell of a job. You know, I didn't mind it at all. I loved his take on Loomis in the first Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, the second one, I'll get to that when I do that video, but I can say for you right now that I didn't really care for Loomis in the second one. He was all right. You know, I don't hate it, but I'm not crazy on it like I was on this one, if that makes any sense. But, yeah, I thought Dr. Loomis was fucking awesome in this. I thought Malcolm did a hell of a job. He knocked it out of the fucking park, you know. He did a pretty decent job. Is it as good as Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis from the original series? No, not even close. You'd have to be a fucking idiot to say that, you know. No offense to anybody that thinks that, but come on now. You can't get any better than the Donald, you know. There will never be a better Dr. Loomis than Donald Pleasance. I'm sorry, but they won't. Ever. But Malcolm did his own thing, and I like that. And, you know, going back to Zombie doing his own shit, I love the gore and the ferocity that he brought into the remake, you know, and how brutal and how fucking heinous and just sadistic that he made Michael Myers. Um, but before I get to the behemoth that is Tyler Mane, who played Michael in this, I want to talk about young Michael. Uh, I can't remember the kid's name at this particular moment, but Daig Farce, I want to say is his name. Daig something. I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name, but I'm terrible with names. But he was pretty damn cool. He was pretty good for a kid actor, in the beginning of this movie as young Michael. I thought he did a pretty damn good job, a decent job of portraying a kid that's getting bullied in school. And if anybody can relate to that shit, it's me. Because I was pretty much like young Michael. I mean, no, I didn't go out and get a barbed wire. Well, I have a barbed wire baseball bat right there. I got it sealed. But I didn't take a fucking aluminum baseball bat and bash somebody's fucking head in while they're making a ham sandwich because they said some shit to piss me off. No. I didn't go that far with it, but I was bullied in school. And I can get why young Michael did what he did. And not to mention he has the world's worst fucking home life I've ever seen. Now, a lot of people say they didn't like the fact that Zombie gave Michael a backstory or too much of a backstory in his version of Halloween. Well, you know what? You got to give in at some point. Even Mustafa said that at one of the DVD features that you can't just have this character go on for 6 movies in and not give in something. At some point, you got to give in a little something. And Zombie's first interpretation of Halloween, he wanted to give Michael something that the original Halloween never did. He wanted to give Michael not really a mythology, but at least a backstory explaining why he does the fucked up shit he does in this movie. And I see no problem with that. I actually enjoyed the hell out of that. I love the fact that we get to see how Michael became so sadistic and fucked up and what made him snap, what made him go ape shit. Who pissed in this kid's fucking cornflakes? Who made him mad as fuck to go to the point, to the extent of butchering half his family? And I thought that was awesome. I thought it was great. I didn't see no problem with that. That's the one thing I have a problem with the original Halloween that I should have brought up in my first review of the '78 classic. Is that yes, it is held like the holy grail in the horror community by a lot of people, but I don't like the fact that we never got to find out why Michael snapped. A lot of people like the fact that, well, he's just pure evil. There's no explanation. There's no explanation needed. He's just some kid that went ape shit one day and started killing for no reason. And that is scary in its own way. But it's even better if you give some kind of, reason to why Michael snapped. And in this, you see he has a broken home life, and fuck you to everyone that says they got a problem with the white trash bullshit. I'm sick of hearing that because, yeah, all right, it is a little stereotypical that they gave Michael a white trash, bullshit home life to reason why he snapped and went crazy, but it's realistic. And that's one thing I will fucking defend to the death is that Zombies, version of Halloween is very fucking realistic because there are a lot of fucking kids in this world that grow up just like he did. And maybe they don't grow up to be a psychotic son of a bitch like he was, but they're damn near driven to that point, or driven, I mean. There's a lot of fucking people that grow up in that kind of home life, and it's a thousand wonders they don't become a fucking serial killer because he had a shitty ass fucking home. Well, no, his mom wasn't a prostitute, but she was a stripper. Sherman Zombie played Mrs. Myers, and she was making ends meet by being a stripper, and he has the world's worst fucking stepdad that you could ever imagine, Ronnie White. Now, Ronnie is funny. Like, he has some pretty funny one-liners, but God, he's the world's worst fucking dad. Hillbilly fucking deluxe, just shitty-ass white guy that you would see on every episode of Cops. Standing outside his fucking trailer saying, "Bitch, you better not touch my fucking cigarettes, you hear me? Lock his ass up." That's the fucking guy that was playing Michael's stepdad in this. Basically, every episode of Cops, you see a guy just like him. And I love the back and forth between him and Mrs. Myers. He's talking shit to Michael at the breakfast table, and he's like, "Take that damn thing off. You are really starting to annoy me, boy." And Michael's like, "I hate you." And he's like, "I hate you too. As soon as this heals, I'm gonna break it right up again over in your fucking face." It's just funny shit, man. Funny fucking shit. I love the humor in this movie. Another part is when Michael was talking to his mom on Halloween night, and she asks Judith to take Michael trick or treating, and Judith is like, "Why don't you get that subhuman sloth over there on the couch to do it?" And she's like, "If I can get that fat drunk ass piece of shit to do anything, I would." And he's like, "Bitch, if you don't think I ain't making a mental list, all your fucking bullshit." It's funny. It's funny as fuck. If you don't like that shit, then I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you, because that is fucking hilarious. That is the funniest shit. And that son of a bitch is the first one to bite the bullet. Michael goes out of his way to kill the fuck out of him, first one in this entire movie. So I love that. I love that he slaughtered that son of a bitch, gut his fucking throat. He tapes him up because he's drunk as shit in the recliner, and he just slices his damn throat. And the last thing he sees is Michael staring at him with that little clown mask. So like I said, the ferocity and the brutality that young Michael brings to the young Michael role from the first movie, it's badass. Dave was awesome in this. I really wish they would have brought him back for the second one, but they said he had grown too tall and didn't resemble the young Michael from the first movie. But you know what? It almost makes sense, because Michael would have been taller by that point. So why not bring him back? I don't understand why they did it. Why they didn't do it. It's kind of stupid if you ask me. But, like I said, the first act of the movie, yes, I can agree. The first 15, 20 minutes is kind of hard to get through, because if you're not a fan of vulgarity and you're not a fan of constant dialogue that contains the word fuck and any variation on the word fuck, like 50 times out of the first 10 minutes of dialogue in this movie, then of any movie, then hey, more power to you. I don't blame you. Some people don't like it, but if you've watched any of my reviews before this, and I'm basically just like the first 15, 20 damn minutes of a Rob Zombie movie, because I say fuck, motherfucker, goddamn, hell, and shit almost 5 minutes into my video. So that don't bother me. I was raised up around people that spoke like that all the time in my childhood. So, that don't bother me at all. It really don't. I laugh my ass off at it. But, like I said, Ronnie, he was funny as fuck, but I was glad when he died. And Judith, she was kind of a bitch, but she was hot, and her death was pretty decent, when Myers just stabs the shit out of her 17 times down the hallway and bashes her boyfriend's head in with a fucking aluminum baseball bat while the motherfucker's trying to make a ham sandwich. Cool fucking shit. I love seeing the bat bash his fucking brains in and the motherfucker has a seizure on the damn floor. And this brings up another thing that I've said in my past reviews, is that Michael is, yes, sexually repressed, because in this he is only he's a little bit older than he was in the 78. In the 78 movie, he was 6 years old. But in this one, I think he's like 10 or 12, maybe. And I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong below in the comments. But he goes upstairs and he starts touching Judith's leg and caressing her leg and shit. So he thinks about it. He thinks about sex, but he never acts on it because he doesn't really know what to do. And then Judith freaks out and he stabs the shit out of her, and Mom comes home from the strip club, sees what the fuck has happened. Fast forward 15 years later, Myers is now locked up in Smith Grove Sanitarium. And that's when we're introduced to Tyler Maine's version of Michael Myers. And man, Tyler Mane was a badass. He was a brute motherfucker. This dude was gigantic as hell, just fucking humongous. And that's another thing that people complain about. They're like, well, Myers is too fucking tall in this, He's not some goddamn monster or a wrestler, even though Tyler Mane was a pro wrestler in his past career before he entered acting and doing anything in movies. He was a pro wrestler, but I had no problem with Tyler Mane's portrayal of Michael. I thought it was brutal as shit. It was badass. It was just, in your face badassery. There's not another word that can sum up how cool Tyler Mane's version of Michael was in this. And he's brutal as fuck, and the way he kills people in it is nothing like we've seen before, The only version of Michael I've seen that was as brutal as Tyler Mane would have to be George P. Wilbur in Halloween 6. So I thought that he did an awesome fucking job as Michael Myers, and seeing him look at Loomis with this fucking just evil ass glare and shit every time Loomis would talk to him while he's sitting there in his arms, or basically hanging down to the fucking floor, because they had him in this little bitty ass fucking chair and his hands are cuffed behind the chair, and you're just like, this motherfucker could get up and get the fuck up out of there, no problem. He could break that shit at any time. But for some reason, he has like a father-son bond between him and Loomis in the first and second half of this movie, because Loomis tries to help him, and it doesn't go so well. And I got to go back a little bit further. I mean, before this, and talk about the nurse in the fucking sanitarium who was told to sit and watch Michael while he's eating his fucking greens and shit, or trying to eat food, but he didn't. And Mrs. Myers walks out with Loomis into the hallway, and they're talking about his progression into the downward spiral he's going into. And the nurse looks at a picture that she brought. It was a picture of Michael and his sister, Boo, a.k.a. Laurie Strode. And she's like, oh, cute baby. No way it could be related to you. You stupid fucking bitch. Why would you say that to a motherfucker that you know has killed numerous fucking people in the past at a very young age and has no problem killing the shit out of you or anyone else? Let alone the fact y'all gave him real cutlery to eat his food with. You gave him an actual fucking steel fork, metal fork, whatever the fuck it's made of. The point is, he's a psychotic little bastard, and you gave him weapons. And so, of course, Michael gets up and stabs the shit out of her in the fucking jugular. I couldn't blame him, because you fucking called him ugly, you dumb bitch. You just triggered the little bastard. But anyways, fast forward to that. After that, he's now got his own room and shit, and he's making masks out of paper and mache and all that. He's collecting a whole collection of his own homemade masks that he's made over the years. And Danny Trejo is pretty much like his own confidant in the asylum. He plays a janitor. But, I had to say, when he killed him, it was sad. When Michael kills him, I really hated that, I really hated it because he tried to be there for Myers the whole time, and tried to talk to him. And Danny Trejo did do time in prison in real life, so he had some experience. When he was talking about being behind bars, that was kind of like probably improv, because dude knows what it's like to be behind bars. He served 10 years in prison. But I hated when Michael killed him. But that showed how far Michael had went down into the depths of his hellacious abyss. At that point, he didn't give a fuck about anything or anyone. So no matter how good or how well that dude treated him, he didn't see shit. He just wanted to kill the fuck out of everybody, and he did. He drowned them, tried drowning them in a sink, and then he smashes them in the fucking face with a TV. Breaks out of the asylum, and I know you're probably thinking I'm skipping over something, but I don't really want to talk about the rape scene, because there's two cuts of this movie: the director's cut and the theatrical. And the director's cut, I believe, is the one that has the rape scene, and that's one of my negatives. My biggest negative for this movie is the rape scene. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was fucking stupid and pointless. It had no point in this movie. It's just horrible, and Myers killed the shit out of the rapist, and I thought it was awesome. But otherwise, it doesn't need to be in this movie, so I can see why people don't like this one. Now I got to talk to another point in this movie that brings up is the suicide of Mrs. Myers. Damn, man, it sucks. It touches on certain things that people don't like talking about. Suicide is one of them things, even though nowadays it's not so taboo and people do open up more about it. But, to show how emotionally grueling and how damaging this was to Mrs. Myers' psyche, or Miss Myers, I don't know why I'm calling Mrs. Just ignore that. But Miss Myers, her mind had been gone at this point. She felt she had nothing left. She was labeled as Satan's mother, so she took a gun and loaded it, put it in her mouth, and crying as she's watching these old projection film slides of her and her son when Michael was young, and just seeing her just give up on life like she's got nothing left, and pulls the trigger, blows her brains out, and you hear baby crying. Yeah, it's just fucking sad as shit. But to move on to the third act, we are introduced to Laurie Strode, who is now grown. She's half grown. She's in her late teens, early 20s, probably late teens, because she's still in high school, Haddonfield High School. And the new Laurie, new Linda, new Annie, I thought they were cool. I thought they were fucking pretty damn decent for a movie that took place at this time in modern society. It's 2007. It's not 1978 anymore, okay? So we didn't expect to see Laurie walking around in fucking Amish-looking clothes. And, Annie and Linda was pretty damn cool. I thought their the ones that betrayed them were even better than the ones in '78. I'm sorry, but I do. I mean, you got Daniel Harris playing Annie, which was by far one of the best things about this movie. Hot as fuck, sexy as hell, sexy as can be, even hotter than the Annie from '78. And she really is. And, just hot as fuck. Had a good sex scene, well, makeout scene in this, and Myers bitch slaps her, almost kills her. But you also have fucking Brad Dourif playing Sheriff Brackett. Brackett is way better in this one than he was in the '78 movie. Fuck the Brackett in that movie. I fucking hated him. I couldn't stand him. He was annoying. I didn't really give a shit about Brackett at all in parts 1 and 2 from the original series. Brackett in this was pretty damn cool. He's pretty funny because it's Brad fucking Dourif. It's Chucky. How can you not like that shit? And he was way more realistic, way more relatable than the Brackett we had in the first movie. Because the Brackett in the first one, all he did was blame Loomis for everything. Damn you for letting them go. It's your fault, blah, 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 And Brackett in this didn't really care for Loomis either, but he didn't, come off as a dick like the first one did. So that's one reason why I thought Brad Dourif did a damn good job of portraying Brackett. I had no problem with it at all. You have the chick who played Linda, Christina Klebe. She was fucking great. She was cool. I liked her. Kind of like the other Linda a little bit more in a way, and just because it's PJ Souls and Who Don't Love Her and Rock and Roll High School and everything she's been in, Carrie. But I still like Christina Klebe's take on Linda. Still fucking hot, still sexy as hell. Had a body that you could fucking die for. Like, God damn that ass and her tits. She's fine as fuck. Now we get to Scout Taylor Compton, who is Lori in this. God damn, a girl got an ass on. But I'm not going to be talking about just her asses, but they were hot. But no, Scout was great as Lori. I really liked her. She brought a new, fresh, original take to Laurie Strode. And as she said before numerous times, is that she didn't want to be just like Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode. She even told Rob Zombie, let me put a little Scout in this. Let me put my own spin on it. And Zombie's like, yeah, go ahead, shit, do it, make it your own thing, And a lot of people hate on it because they're like, Laurie's fucking retarded in this. She's dumb as fuck. She's nothing like Laurie Strode from the first movie. Well, no fucking shit, dumbass. You didn't expect her to really be walking around just like a goddamn woman from the fucking Little House on the Prairie, did you? I mean, shit. If she tried to act like Laurie Strode from the first movie in '78, it wouldn't have been believable. Nobody would have bought that shit. In 2007, are you fucking kidding me? That would have never been believable. That wouldn't. There was no way they would have bought that shit. I mean, if you did, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, because it would have been boring to see her act like doing an impression of Laurie Strode from '78. It wouldn't work. She was your typical everyday teenager, and even the little joke she made with her mom about the bagel and Mr. Nickels and Dimes hardware motherfucker, wanting to touch her the wrong way. You want a screwdriver, mommy? You like that? See, I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that at all. I thought the Scout Taylor Compton was funny as fuck in this. And I know that your version of Lori probably is not that, but I don't give a shit. I liked it. I thought she did a good job. And also, Scout Taylor Compton grew up like in a funeral home because her dad either owned one or he worked at one time. So she had, history working around dead bodies and shit, and scary stuff didn't scare her. She's been a horror fan her whole life, and she's a great person in real life, And I thought she brought a real realness to Laurie Strode. So, she was great with little Tommy in this, Tommy Doyle. Tommy was pretty cool in this. I didn't mind him or Lindsay. Them two back and forth. The camaraderie between Lindsay and Tommy was funny as hell. It was cute seeing them argue all the time. And I thought that was pretty cool. But moving on to the third act, the finale. You finally see Michael unleashed. You finally see him after he's broken out of Smith Grove Sanitarium. He stole the jumpsuit from Joe Grizzly, bitch. Ken Forey played him, by the way. Badass actor. Great dude. I loved him in Dawn of the Dead. I like seeing his fight with Myers. That was some funny shit. I ain't gonna lie, I enjoyed the hell out of it, He's like, yeah! And he lets go with a knife and the motherfucker just stabs him. I was like, oh, you dumb son of a bitch. But, Michael, and if you haven't noticed, when Myers gets his jumpsuit, like, dude died on the toilet. He died on the shitter, so he didn't wipe his ass, and he was beaten off to a dirty mag. So Michael's more or less walking around in a jumpsuit that has cum stains and shit in it. You know, I don't know if some of you have never noticed that, but he didn't. He didn't wipe his ass before Michael killed him. But so yeah, he's walking around a shitty ass, bloody, stained jumpsuit, and he finally finds Lori. And my good friend Andrew Becker, aka Drewski McGillicuddy, brought this up a while back, and it was a subject for a long time in Killer Flicks. I'm not with that group anymore, but it was brought up in it. Is that did Michael really, honestly, break out of the sanitarium to stalk Lori Strode? Was that his whole purpose? No, it wasn't, because he didn't meet Lori Strode until she showed up at his doorstep at the Myers house to drop off that envelope that her dad told her to drop off there, or the keys, or whatever it was, and he smells the envelope and he sees her, and for some reason he decides to fixate on Lori, just like in the first movie. So the question is, what if it had been somebody else? What if it had been Linda who did it, or Annie, or just anybody, that would have decided to drop that off at the Myers house? Would he have decided to stalk them instead of Laurie Strode? My answer? Yeah, probably. You know, he probably would have stalked anyone. It's not that he was meant to get out of there to get Laurie. It was actually just decided to be her because it was fate. It's the old saying that goes in this movie, is that fate never changes, and it was, I guess, her fate to go to that house. So it would have been anybody else. It would have been them, but it just happened to be Laurie. But in the third act of this, I really like how the action picks up, and you see him attack Annie and her boyfriend, kills the fuck out of him, puts a pumpkin on his head, and leaves him hanging inside the house. Fucking Laura shows up with Lindsay and finds the dead dude's body just hanging, and Annie's laying there in a puddle of her own blood with her top pulled off, and she has some nice tits, by the way. And she's trying to get her help and shit, and that's when Michael finds Lori and starts attacking her, and she runs the fuck out of the house, tells Lindsay, get the fuck out of here, run for help. And then we have that good shape stalk scene, that was a throwback to the first movie, and there was a lot of throwback kills that were done really well. When Myers kills Bob, just posts him up on the wall with a butcher knife. That was pretty damn cool. It actually looked better than the one from the first movie, because in the first one, he has this long ass fucking butcher knife and puts him up on the wall and it's just posted right there. So you're like, how the fuck could he just have him hanging right there? The physics escaped this motherfucker, because there's no way a knife could hold him up on the wall. And the blade that he uses in this one, he stabs him in the shoulder, I believe, or the sternum in this one too. But for some reason, it looks more realistic in this movie to me. I don't know. He kills the shit out of Linda. He grabs her by the throat and chokes the fuck out of her, and secretly she was supposed to say, choke me harder, daddy. But, he does. He kills the shit out of Linda, and she was smoking hot, Bob, I didn't really give a fuck about Bob in this. He didn't add nothing to it. I didn't really care. He wasn't funny like the original Bob was, so. And he was a 1 minute man. He sucked in sex, so he didn't, he just sucked in the bed, so I didn't give a fuck when Michael killed him. Let's see. If we're talking about kills, let me go way back to the beginning of this movie and talk about the little bully, the little fuckhead that tortured Michael at school. When Myers kills him in the woods and bashes his fucking brains in with that damn stick and just bashes him all over the body. I love that, man. I fucking love it. I relished in seeing him beg for his life, because that was the same kind of shit that I dealt with in school, was little bastards like him making my life a living hell. So I'm not condoning murder. I'm just saying, when Myers kills him, that motherfucker deserved it. He really did. He deserved every damn thing that Myers gave him, so fuck that kid. And he was also in the fucking Shark Boy and Lava Girl, I think, or he was one of them kids from the Spy Kids movies, but he got his ass whooped by Myers in this. Don't talk shit about Myers' mom. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. But now, I know I'm going back and forth. I'm sorry, y'all, but there's a lot of shit to talk about in this movie. I can't believe my phone hasn't stopped yet. But after Myers has dispatched everybody, Linda, Annie, Bob, He's even killed Lori's parents. He even went into their house and just slaughtered their ass, you know. Just sliced the dad's fucking throat open or his face or some shit. And he throws him down, walks in, throws him right there. And, you know, Lori's mom's just looking like, what the fuck just happened, you know. And he walks up and grabs. It doesn't show him grab her, but he walks up with a knife in his hand and it cuts to something else. It cuts back and he's now dragged her through the house and threw her through the coffee table. He grabs a picture of Lori and sees that it's his sister, Boo. And he knows that it's her. And the mom's like, you stay away from my baby. And he grabs her by the neck, snaps her neck. I was like, damn, Dee Wallace was fucking cool in this. I liked her. I thought she was pretty funny as the mom of Laurie Strode. You know, definitely brought a lot to this. Dee Wallace is such a sweetheart. I love her in everything she does. You know, except for Death House. Fuck that movie. I've still got that rant video coming up soon. But other than that, Dee Wallace was pretty damn cool in this. I really thought she was a class act in this movie as Laurie's mom, stepmom. But, you know, you now have Laurie and Tommy and Lindsay hiding in the bathroom at another house, or it might have been the Doyle's house, I don't remember which, but they're hiding from Michael. He shows up, cops show up, they're in there trying to find out if anybody's in there with them, and they're asking Laurie to come out of the bathroom. She's like, no, there's somebody here who's trying to kill us and shit. And they're like, no, nobody's here. And Myers shows up. As soon as they go to open the door, he shows the fuck up, kills one of the fucking cops. One cop takes a shot at him and shoots him like 2 or 3 times, and he's still fucking coming. This motherfucker is not going to stop. Kills the fuck out of the cop, butchers his ass, bashes the door open, grabs Laurie, takes off with her. Now, what he did to make her shut up, because when he walks out of the bathroom with her, she's screaming for her fucking life, and the kids are going ape shit. But as soon as he leaves the house and you see him walking down the street, she's limp. She's like a dead noodle, man. And I don't know what the hell he did. He must have bitch smacked her or something to make her shut up, because she was screaming her damn life away. He brings her back to the Myers house, and he's now got the tombstone of his sister, Judith, laying down there where Linda's body is, naked, just laying there in the dirt. And it's like, oh god, it's horrible, you know. And she sees that's Linda, and she's begging Linda to wake up, and now she realizes Linda's dead. And Michael takes his mask off, because essentially, I don't think Michael wanted to kill Laurie in this. You know, I don't believe that he was really wanting to kill her. He really wanted her to know that he was her brother. But there's no way in hell that Laurie could have known that she was related to this fucking Leviathan, this goddamn behemoth, you know, that is Michael Myers. She had no idea who he was. She thought that he was just some psycho trying to kill him and shit. And he takes the picture that he had at the sanitarium and shows it to her, and she's like, I have no idea who these fucking people are. You know, she was trying to be smooth with it. She's like, I'm going to help you, but I just don't know how. I want to help you, but I don't know you. I don't know who you are, you know. And she grabs the knife and stabs him in the fucking shoulder. And a little trivia fact for you, that's a real fucking knife that she stabbed him with, because when she did it, she wasn't supposed to go too damn deep, but the bitch kind of broke the skin and stabbed him in the shoulder on accident. Yeah. You know, when he falls over, that's a legit fall, because she did stab him in the shoulder, you know, but she didn't mean to. It was an accident, but hey, shit happens in movies. And he's a stunt guy anyway, so it's not like it's the first time that's ever happened, I'm sure. But that's when she escapes out of the back of the Myers house. He puts his mask back on, and he gets out, and he tries chasing after her, and she falls into this fucking empty pool that's been drained for years, and it looks like the bitch is done. She's had it, you know, that's it. There's nothing left for Laurie, and she's begging for help. She's trying to crawl her way out of this fucking gigantic in-ground pool, and then Loomis shows up. Loomis pulls out his gun, and he fucking says, Micah, it's me, Samuel. And Michael looks at him like, I don't give a fuck. He turns around, keeps stalking Laurie, and he's like, Michael, stop, pow, 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 and shoots his ass like 6 times, like he did in the first movie, I think. And might have been 6 or 7 times, I don't know. I don't count this shit in this movie. But he shot the fuck out of him, and he shot him with like a 45 Magnum, I believe it was, and he dropped him. He did. He dropped the shit out of Michael in this. You know, he falls the fuck down, and they go back to the police car, and he thinks that everything's over, you know, and they have the infamous line, that scene about, was that the boogeyman? And as a matter of fact, it was. And then Myers breaks the fucking glass, grabs Laurie, takes her back into the house. And I love Loomis's reaction, because when the minute the fucking glass breaks, he's like, holy hell, what the hell? He fucking runs and says, Michael, let her go. You want me. I failed you, Michael. And he lets her go, and then he grabs Loomis by the fucking face and starts trying to squeeze his goddamn skull in or something. I don't know what the hell Myers was doing, but he was trying to kill the shit out of Loomis. And he almost does it. He very much almost became a victim himself. He was very close to becoming a victim. And I guess he left him for dead. And he pursues after Laurie Strode in the Myers house. It's deep. This house is gutted. It's so fucked now. You know, it's been condemned for years. No one's lived there for years. Everyone in Haddonfield thinks it's haunted. You know, rightfully so. And Laurie has now managed to escape and go within the walls of the house. And that's where in Halloween 2 we see her face is all fucked up and cut and bruises everywhere and loses fingernails and shit. She's foobar by Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Fucked up beyond all recognition. And he's stalking her and he's trying to find her and shit. And finally she gets up in the ceiling of the house, within the inside of the ceiling. And the floors are all rotted as fuck, and the ceiling's rotted out. So Myers grabs a 2x4 and starts ramming the shit, trying to find out where the fuck she is, and she falls down through the roof of the house. Talk about a badass ending, man, a badass finale. That was some badass shit. That was 10 times better than the ending of the original. For me, it was, anyways. I know a lot of you are probably like, what the fuck are you smoking? But no, for me, it was. I love the ending of this. It's action-packed to the last second. And at this point, Laurie's had it, man. She looks like shit run over twice. And she grabs the gun, cocks it back, and Myers drops his 2x4 when he sees her and just charges the bitch. And then, boom, spears her out the fucking balcony of the 2-story house. That's a fucking badass ending right there. That was some cool shit. Seeing the two fall to the ground. And at this point, there's nothing left. There's nothing left that she can do. And she's on top of him. She grabs the gun, cocks it back one more time. She keeps pulling the trigger, and nothing happens. She thinks there's no bullets left, you know. And finally, Myers grabs her by the hand because he's still alive. He's still there. And she's like, no. She fucking cocks it back one last time. Boom! Blows him in the fucking head. Just shoots the fuck out of him. And then she lets out this blood-curdling, horrifying screams. Just like, ugh, it's deafening, man. Because at that point, Laurie had lost it. She's lost her fucking shit, you know. I mean, you got to think, you got a 17-year-old kid that was 16, 17 years old, and she was really living a relatively normal life until this shit happened. Fast forward to now, she has lost her parents. She didn't know it at the time, but she had lost her parents, lost her friends. They've all been butchered except for Annie. Her whole goddamn life's been changed. And that's what I'll get into in my Rob Zombie H2 review, is defending the shit out of Laurie Strode in that one, because her psyche is completely fucked by Rob Zombie's H2. But at the end of this, that scream lets you know that this kid just lost her fucking mind. And the ending is cool as fuck because they show like the projection screen slides of young Michael playing with his mom and shit, Miss Myers, and oh my lord. This review has been longer than I thought it would be. It's going on 40 fucking minutes almost. It's going to be a bitch to edit. It really is. So it might take a couple days for me and my slow ass fucking internet to get this up. But I hope y'all have enjoyed this. I hope you've liked my look back on Rob Zombie's Halloween. And expect none the less when I get to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And I'm sorry if it sounds like today my voice is kind of fucked because I've been dealing with my acid reflux the last couple of days, so I'm trying to struggle through to get through this shit. But that was my review of Rob Zombie's Halloween defense review. And it's been me, Savini Jason, and as always, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about this movie, because I know a majority of the people do not like this movie. They hate it. They hate anything that Rob Zombie touches. They think it's bullshit. So let me know down below what you think about it. And let me know if you actually are on my side of the fence and you actually like this one. And we'll talk about the shit, as always. So until next time, it's been me, Savini Jason, and I will see y'all later.